Greetings! Just here at a dispersed campsite in the forest here in Oregon. I want to talk briefly about the importance of keeping your situational awareness dialed up. And all too often, people come out in the woods in places like this, or even into actual campgrounds, and they have generators, blasting stereos, barking dogs, huge, massive amounts of noise all the time, splitting wood, engines revving, everybody's yelling and screaming and hollering. They're making as much noise as they possibly can. In other words, they're not getting away from it all, they brought it all with them. And so they basically have no idea what's going on in the woods because they can't hear anything, and they spend so much time inside their trailer or tent, not being outdoors, that they don't see what's going on. And keeping your ears open is incredibly important in terms of situational awareness. And why is that important? Well, you might miss out on a useful resource that could not just save you money, but could possibly save your life. I'm going to stick the phone right up against the ground, and you'll see what I mean. Listen. You hear that? Sounds like rushing water, doesn't it? And it's coming from under the ground. And because I'm very, very quiet, there's no stereos, there's no generators, I'm on solar power, and I'm not listening to TV shows or music, or I don't have dogs barking endlessly or all kinds of distractions. I'm here to just be in nature and experience what she has to offer. And so when I was stepping over here, a little ways away from my campsite here, I heard this water, and I went, maybe somebody here who previously was staying was trying to dig for it. And I thought maybe I could try. And so I thought, okay, let's just kind of see where it's coming from, because obviously it flows downhill. There's a hill, so let's just follow it. I can hear it below me, and then it kind of goes away. And I thought, okay, I noticed there's a sort of a little swale right here, and so I kind of move over, avoiding the rose hips because they're pokey. And I swear I could hear a little bit more. And so I'm going to start kind of moseying around here and see what I can see, or hear, actually, because obviously my situational awareness is up to 100%. Wait, yeah, I can hear it right below me. It sounds like rushing water. Oh yeah, right here. I'm going to do it again here. That's not wind. There may be a breeze coming in, but there's water coming underneath here, and you can see there's a swale. What is going on here? I'm hearing it still. Now, it's not the trees. It almost looks like there's a rudimentary path right here that takes you up. I can hear it right there. There is a water course, and it looks, I mean, if you were not expecting this, you'd think there's a stream running underneath the ground. This, normally, you think this swale here, maybe that's formed when there's enough runoff to actually create a creek, but it's under the ground. That's fascinating. So let's see what's upstream. I'm kind of going, look at those big rocks there. How do those rocks on either side of this swale get made? Well, this might actually be man-made. Somebody made a ditch here. Or did they? That's definitely been dug out. See if we can hear it. Oh yeah, right here. I'm going to do it again. Can you hear it? Right in there. It almost looks like there's like a bump. And I can still hear it. I'm like, okay, is it coming out of like here? Where are we? There's this big meadow here. Where is it coming from? Oh, well, looky there. It's an irrigation pipe of some kind. And you go, wait a minute. There's no water in this campsite. This is a dry campsite. Is this usable water? For free, basically? Have they tapped into a spring upstream here somewhere, or uphill, and I hear more rushing. Here's more of the actual pipe. You can sort of see it sticking out there. I can hear it rushing. I can hear water. And look at that. A little difficult to get in here with all this grass. But, whoa, it's slipping around. Look at that. There's water in there, and it's flowing. I'm trying to drop the phone in, that would be a disaster. Wow. Well, just in case, I brought a collection jug so we can actually examine this water. And in order to not lose, I keep falling, the collection jug, I have it attached to myself with this bit of paracord here. And so keeping this loop around my body so I don't lose this down the pipe. We're going to take a look at this water and see what it's all about. I don't smell anything necessarily. Set the cap aside. And I certainly hope I'm not, excuse me, risking contamination here. Grass in my face. Let's just take a look. Ooh, it's cool down in here. Just going to take a little look at what some of it looks like. We're just going to collect a little bit and see how it looks. Huh. That looks very, very clear. I see no sediment. Hold the phone over the ground. Let's smell it. No, it doesn't have any smell. It just smells like an old collection jug. Kind of like wet rag from it having contaminated water in it most of its life. Well, that looks pretty good, and it has no particulates and no smell. So this might actually be usable water. I'm not saying potable. I have no idea where it's coming from. I don't know anything about it. For all I know, it's sewage runoff. But it looks pretty darn clear, and it doesn't have any smell or particulates in it. So while some people may say, oh, we're out of water, we got to drive to town. You know, the fact that there's a seemingly usable water source here, we would have to treat it, of course. You don't trust water like this. I'll run it through the life straw if I have to gather it. I have like I have like a dozen gallons of water right now. That'll last me easily 6 days. So I don't need this water. And now I will say, down maybe a half a mile that way, there's another one of these with a big metal barrel over the top keeping stuff out of it. So it seems like somebody's trying to sort of protect this from being contaminated. I'm assuming it is just irrigation water. But again, I'd definitely treat it through my life straw. But so many people would just bail. You know, we got to go buy water from town. And so now you have to pay money for something that is occurring perfectly free right here in almost endless supply. It's just is running and running. You can see how fast it's flowing. There's tons of water. And it's just right here, you know. And I almost wonder if maybe that little hole that was dug in camp was someone trying to get to this and realizing, oh, wait, no, you're going to have to like punch through this plastic pipe. You can hear it rushing. You can hear it rushing. Trickle, trickle. Oh, that's so cool. And so that's why it's incredibly, incredibly important to keep your situational awareness dialed up, because you would miss out on a money savings. You know, these are $1 or $2 dollars for a gallon of water, you know, and if you're running a modern campsite where you're using lots and lots of water every day, yeah, that starts adding up quick, you know. And so the idea that you can get as much water as you want for free, basically, you know, right near camp, you know, you wouldn't know about that if all you had done is just sit there blasting your stereos, running your generators, your dogs barking, yelling and screaming, splitting firewood, making massive amounts of noise, shooting guns. You'd never hear this. Not even a chance. You'd never hear it. And so your situational awareness being turned off costs you money, you know. And if there's an emergency and you can't leave camp for whatever reason and you start running out of water, you may die, not realizing that if you just shut up for half a second and be quiet, you would hear that there's water right under the ground, right next to your campsite. I mean, this is running, what, like 10, 15 feet from my actual canopy, from my actual campsite. You know, if it was out on the open ground, you could look right at it from where I'm camped out. And so keep your head on a swivel, keep your ears open, be quiet in the woods, and not only will it necessarily save you money, but it might necessarily save your life. Situational awareness can save your life. Just make sure that you turn off all of your noise and pay attention. So I want to thank you for joining me here for a few minutes in the forest in Oregon to talk about the very, very important technique of keeping your situational awareness dialed up to 100.